guys, Caleb Giddings from Gun Nuts Media here again with another live stream. I'm really enjoying doing these live streams instead of doing traditional recorded videos because I think we get a lot of value out of the interaction that I get with you, the viewers, the commenters, and that sort of stuff. So before we get to the actual subject of the video today, we're going to talk about this shirt. I've worn this in a couple of videos. It was a limited edition that wasn't easily available. It was discontinued a zillion years ago because I made it. It's back. I'm going to put a link in the description for it so you can go click on that link and go get it. But if you want to go get it right now, you can go to Teespring, search for a Cunning shirt, all right? That should bring you to it. It should look just like this, and it's available in a bunch of different colors. So, it's good water. All right, so let's get on to today's topic, which is everyday EDC gear. In the wake of our most recent video on the Florida parking lot shooting, I've had a lot of people contact me and ask me what it is that I actually carry on a regular basis. Now, we are eventually going to talk about guns that I carry and why I carry them, but before we do that, we're going to talk about the other stuff that I carry, the stuff that I think is actually more valuable for the vast majority of people. And that's the thing. Even if you don't carry a gun, all right? If you don't carry a gun, if you think guns are scary, this video, at least part of it, is for you. We're going to talk about real-world self-defense options, things that you can actually carry with you. To Call Sign Nomad, who just popped in with a question, did you see my comment on one of your latest videos? Maybe? I don't know. Anyway, so let's get on with it. So we're going to start with EDC gear. Now, obviously, one of the things that everybody carries is a phone, and this is perfectly useful, and I think you should carry your phone, especially if you're outside, because it's going to be hard to call 911 without a cell phone. All right, we can move on. Let's make sure that's on silent. Move on past the phone into other stuff, into things that are actually practical. So there are two things that I almost always have with me depending on circumstances. Thing number one is a flashlight. This is the Surefire Edc L2T, all right? And I love this light because it has, if you press lightly on the tail cap, it works as a task light. So I can see if the dog is eating trash off the ground or something like that when I'm walking him at night. But if I jam down on the tail cap, it blows your eyes out with 1,000 lumens of fury. I'm a huge believer in flashlights as personal defense items, okay? Flashlights are capable of, and I have used them to create a barrier to stop people, all right? So basically, here's how this works. You've got somebody coming towards you. It's dark. They're acting shady. You light them up with 1,000 lumens and give verbal commands to stop, stay back, don't come near me. Firm verbal commands, and the light often accomplishes everything that you need it to accomplish. Your defensive situation is over. Nobody died. Police don't even need to be called. They're gone. What happens, though, if that doesn't work? That's why I carry this. This is one of two brands of pepper spray that I recommend. This is the Fox 5.3. This is what I carry. I know for a fact that this works. The other brand I recommend is the Saber Red. You want to stay away from gels and foams because they take longer to work than the spray, and this is what you want to go with. The thing about flashlights and pepper sprays is I can take these anywhere, all right? I can take these to places that I can't take a gun. That's why I carry them. I can take these to places where I can't take a knife. That's why I carry them. These are the two most useful and most frequently used self-defense tools in my entire setup, all right? I love flashlights and I love pepper spray. Pepper spray I can carry anywhere except for airlines. I travel a lot. This I can carry on an airline, all right? I can carry this on a plane, and this is better than nothing, all right? A really super bright flashlight, and I need to stress that. It has to be a super bright flashlight, okay? 250 lumens of baby juice isn't gonna get you there. You need a lot of lumens. And this Surefire EDC, I can never get this name right, EDC L2T has a lot of lumens. Get you one. It's only like 120 bucks on Amazon. And if you go to the Surefire website, and use my buddy John Johnson from Ballistic Radio's discount code. It gets you like 10 or 20% off. The discount code is Aziz Light, like in The Fifth Element. Aziz Light! Bam! Anyway, flashlights and pepper spray. Super duper important. Very important things to carry, all right? Now, here's the thing, though. I don't always carry this with me, and I want to talk about the reality of EDC here for a minute. I don't always take my flashlight with me. If I'm walking the dog at 2:30 in the afternoon and I need to have a flashlight, it's 2:30. I'm going to be back in an hour. It's not going to get dark in an hour where I live, all right? If I go for a walk at 7 o'clock, even if it's not dark out yet, I'm taking this with me. It might get dark. So it's okay to not always carry all your shit. You don't have to have one of those EDC war belts that you're constantly carrying 19 different things on, because you may not need it all the time, all right? It's okay to have stuff in your car. It's okay to have stuff in your backpack. You know, it's okay to change what you're carrying depending on the time of the day or where you're going and things like that. So I try to always have this with me, especially if I know I'm going to be out after dark or it's after dark. The flashlight comes with me. The pepper spray goes with me everywhere except for commercial airlines. And I have several bottles of it because I've taken it to bars and gotten it confiscated and things like that. So it's been, just buy a lot. You can buy it on Amazon. It's cheap, okay? Get pepper spray. Now, let's talk about stuff that I like to carry but I don't always carry. And we're going to talk about knives, okay? So normally I carry this Spyderco Delica, this is an Endura. I can never remember Spyderco's models. This is a good knife. I carry this. Lately, I've also been carrying a small fixed blade knife, but not as a weapon, as a tool for opening boxes and things like that. I have mixed feelings about fixed blades for personal defense. Some people love them, other people don't. I can see their utility. I don't always opt to carry one. It depends on where I'm going, what I'm doing, etc., etc. Now, let's talk about medical supplies, because right now the hotness, the cool trend in the tactical community is to tell everybody to carry medical supplies, right? I don't always. I do sometimes. Here's the real talk. If I go somewhere in my car, I have my backpack with me, and in my backpack I always have medical supplies. I have in here a tourniquet in a Filster flat pack, which is the best way to carry a tourniquet, and I have this trauma pack. This is called an Adventure medical kit. All right, I got this on Amazon. I gave it to an EMT friend of mine for her to check it out, and she said it's pretty decent. It comes with a quick clot bandage, gloves, duct tape, a whole bunch of good things, and I added some band-aids to it because it doesn't have band-aids in it, because while it's great to have all of the tools necessary to treat a traumatic amputation or a gunshot wound, it's also nice to be able to give somebody a band-aid for a boo-boo. Now, I don't always carry this. If I have my backpack with me, I have a tourniquet, I have my medical kit, but I don't always have my backpack with me. Again, sometimes I go walk the dog or I go jogging, and I don't want to carry all this junk with me, so I leave it at home. It's a calculated risk. So that covers it for medical, for knives, for flashlights, and all of that stuff. So now let's talk about, if you don't carry a gun and if you don't like guns, you can click off of this video now, all right? Because we're going to talk about guns now. I, right now, am carrying on a pretty regular basis the Beretta Apx RDO. Now, this is the full-size Beretta Apx. I like it quite a bit. It's a nice striker-fired handgun. I have to, full disclosure, I'm carrying this because Beretta gave it to me to test, all right? I do that a lot where I carry guns that I've been given for work to test or evaluate or that sort of stuff. I like this gun, though, and I like this holster from North Illinois Central Custom Kydex. I fuck that guy's name up every time. Anyway, so that's cool. Now, if I'm not getting paid to carry someone's gun, what do I normally carry? Well, I have 3 guns that I normally carry, and you've seen 2 of them in a previous video. You've seen my very favorite Smith & Wesson revolver. This is the Smith & Wesson 351 PD. It's a .22 Magnum, super lightweight revolver. It's the only wheel gun I've ever successfully been able to carry in running gear. The next that I've been carrying that you see is the Ruger LCR 3-inch. This is my very favorite .38 Special revolver. And last but not least, what I normally carry when I'm not being paid to carry someone's gun is this, a Beretta 92D. Now, here's the thing. I think carry rotations are stupid, all right? You're never going to see me be like, oh, well, it's Tuesday. I'm going to carry the blah-de-blah today. The guns that I choose, the guns that I primarily carry, I'll carry for a very specific reason. If I want to carry a full-sized handgun that holds a lot of bullets, I'm going to carry the Beretta 92. That could be based on, I don't know, I'm going somewhere and I don't know, you know, and I got a bad vibe about it or whatever. Most of the time I'm carrying a small revolver. Now, the reason why my full-size gun is a Beretta 92 is because it has the same trigger as the revolvers on it. It actually has a better trigger. But all of my guns are double action. They all fire the exact same way. Long, heavy, double action trigger pulls. And I believe in a consistent action, consistency of action for consistency of practice. It just makes the world a better, happier place if all of your guns largely go bang in the same way. Now, yes, reloading a semi-automatic is different than reloading a revolver, but here's something else. I don't carry a reload. When you talk about EDC, you're talking about making a calculated risk to accept that the world is a dangerous enough place to do X, but not necessarily dangerous enough to do Y, all right? If you look at statistics from actual civilian gunfights, so we're not talking about cops, we're not talking about military, and we're also not talking about home invasions, okay? We're talking about out there on the street home invasions, or geez Louise. I'll answer that malfunction question in a second. We're talking about out there on the street violent attacks. You know how many of them have involved a reload? Basically none. None of Tom Given's students who have been in shootings had to reload, and the vast majority of incidents that you see in the private sector do not involve a reload or a malfunction. All right, I am not worried about my 5-shot revolver malfunctioning. All right, if it does, I guess that's my day to die. I'm not worried about a Beretta 92D malfunctioning. It is an extremely reliable handgun that has been proof tested over years and years and years of military and law enforcement service, all right? I'm not worried about these guns malfunctioning. I don't carry a reload to reduce a malfunction either. I carry a reload, if I do carry a reload, so I can have more ammo. So the whole idea of carrying a reload in case you have a malfunction is kind of a red herring to me because I'm not worried about my guns malfunctioning. I know that my guns work because I don't buy crappy guns. Now, if you have a Taurus Millennium G2, maybe you should carry a reload in case your gun stops working. Or take your Taurus Millennium G2, throw it in the river, and go buy a good gun. Just food for thought on that one. That wraps it up for the EDC portion of this video. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of carrying something like pepper spray and a flashlight, all right? Have an option in between harsh words and a gun, guys. There's gotta be something in your skill set, whether it's hands-on skills because you're a Brazilian jiu-jitsu master, or you're you've got pepper spray. Even a flashlight is something in between harsh words and a gun. It's important to have these options in your skill set so that you don't end up in a situation where deadly force is your only option and it's not justified. And one last thing I want to address before I sign off for the day. One last thing that I do really want to address is I had somebody bring up, we Monday morning quarterback other people's shootings, and they asked me if I was worried about these videos being found if I was ever to get into a self-defense shooting and being used as evidence of, well, why didn't you pepper spray that guy? You're such a big advocate of pepper spray. Why didn't you pepper spray this guy instead of shooting him? And my answer to that is very simple. I would rather take the risk of having to carefully articulate why I used deadly force if the result of me taking that risk and talking about pepper spray and being an advocate of pepper spray is so that more people introduce something in between harsh words and a gun to their self-defense repertoire. That's it for today. I'm Caleb Giddings. Thanks for watching, and remember, until next time, run your gun, not your mouth.